Hello and welcome to Module 2 for Threat Hunting in Microsoft Sentinel and Defender. This is configuring your Sentinel and Defender environment. So what is Microsoft Sentinel? Microsoft Sentinel is a security incident and event management tool. It allows an organization to connect data logs, analyze and perform security operations on its computer systems that can be hardware applications, or both. So in its simplest form, a SIEM solution allows you to collect and query logs, do correlation and anomaly detection, create alerts and incidents based on your findings. And a SIEM solution can also perform log management. So that is the ability to collect, store and query the log data from resources within your environment. A SIEM solution can also provide alerting, which is a proactive look inside the log data for potential security incidents and anomalies. And a SIEM solution can also give you a place to have a visualization, which is graphs and dashboards that provide visual insights into your log data. So incident management is the ability to create, update, assign, and investigate incidents that have been identified. We can do this inside Microsoft Sentinel. And querying data. So we'll use KQL, which is custom query language, and you can query and understand your data. So here we are inside Microsoft Sentinel. So first of all, it's cloud native. So when you open up Azure, you're going to get Microsoft Sentinel. You can just click on it there. If it's not brought up for you, you can just search for here Sentinel, and then you can get into Microsoft Sentinel now. As we've said before, Microsoft Sentinel is a SIEM solution that it gives you a place to actually collect data, which is logs. What you're going to have to do is you have to assign a log analytics workspace to Microsoft Sentinel. What I've done is I've created mine. It's called training instance, or you can go ahead and you can just create, or you can add Microsoft Sentinel to a workspace. Here we can create a new workspace, and you're actually creating a log analytics workspace. So you can fill in your subscription, you can give the resource groups. So there's a couple of resource groups that exist, and then you can go ahead and name the instance, and there's some tags that you can do, and you can review and create, and then you can actually create you can create your log analytics workspace and attach it to Sentinel. In my instance, I've got this log analytics, which is training instance that's associated or that's assigned to Microsoft Sentinel. Now, inside Microsoft Sentinel, when you come to logs, these logs are going to be the logs that are being fed or coming from the log analytics workspace that you've put in. And then hunting, so you can actually hunt here. So here is KQL queries that I've used to search for LSAS dumping. Just to give you a good example, here we have tables. So there's different tables, and the different tables have different columns and rows. So we have log management, there's quite a few. There's actuals for Sentinel, there's security and audit. So you have security alert and security event. This is like log on information and so on. And then there's the security center free. But right now I just want to show you the events. So if I just click on event, you can change your time limit here. You can go the last 7 days. Let's say the last 3 days. Oh, sorry, let's go ahead and let's do the last 7 days. And we can see that there's a lot of events that have come here. So basically, I've got Sysmon running on a virtual machine that I did onboarding with Microsoft Sentinel. And if you drill down, you can see that it's any event. So that's basically the event. So it's got event level. It's got quite a few columns. There's event data, there's event ID. So this is Sysmon event ID. So if you don't have Sysmon configured on your machines, and remember that you can also onboard Mac OS and Linux machines onto Microsoft Sentinel. If you didn't have that, then this is Sysmon logs, so it's got Sysmon event IDs. If it wasn't Sysmon, if it was just standard Windows, we'd be getting Windows event IDs for this in here. So that's just event. So inside, you basically you can add data connectors. So data connectors are quite important. Data connectors is how you do things in Microsoft Sentinel. So here I've got Windows security events via AMA. So I've installed and I've basically activated the data connector. It gives you an option to open connector page. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and you can onboard devices here, and you can create rules. For example, here's a new training instance. You can create data collection rules using the data connectors. Data connectors are important. If you'd like to onboard any device, you come down inside Sentinel. Well, first of all, what you can do is you can go to your log analytics workspace, right? So here's my log analytics workspace. Anything that you do inside your log analytics workspace is going to be replicated or included in Sentinel, because remember that it's this log analytics workspace that's been assigned to Sentinel. So if I come here, if I go to agents, I can see where my agents are. And basically, here's log analytics agent instructions. You can download the agent for Windows, and you can download the agent for Windows 32-bit or 64-bit, and it'll download, and then you just run it like an executable. So I logged into Microsoft Azure on my virtual machine, and I ran that rule. If you need to provide workspace IDs, there's a primary and secondary key. And this is also important for working with agents. But here we can see exactly where our agents are that belong to that log analytics workspace. That's here. So that is, and also if we go into Sentinel, so we said it's a place to look at logs, but it's also a place to create alerts and queries. Here you can drill down straight into hunting like we did in the first chapter. You can also automate responses. So here's where you can create automated responses to different rules, etc. And here we have our incidents. So no incidents were found now. So this is last 24 hours. If I do last 7 days, we'll see that there was an incident. So what I did is I did a credential dumping using LSAS on a machine. So what you can do in an incident, so remember, so two things. We're collecting logs like we said we were, and now also we're delving into incidents. I can go ahead and I can look at my the full security incident here. I can start doing things like drilling down. I can assign tasks. I can put incident actions, so I can run a playbook. Remember that for incident response, at least the best practice is running playbooks. But this is a place where you can do this all. You can also do the same thing inside Microsoft Defender, where what we're very interested in Microsoft Defender is hunting. So if you come to investigation response, you come to hunting. There's advanced hunting. So here's where I perform advanced hunting. So advanced hunting is done in KQL, in custom query language. We can see that there's a lot of queries that I have here. This one is nicely commented, so it looks for signs of credential dumping. This is basically the query that I ran to search for credential dumping, and I did get it because I performed credential dumping on my virtual machine. One of the best things, you can see there that LSAS has been dumped right here at the end, or at the top here. Marshall LSAS. So anyway, this is one of the best places that you can do. Okay, it's I haven't done it in the last. Oh, they proc dumps. So here you can drill down on this. We can see that what happened is there was a file creation. I used proc dump, and I basically used proc dump to dump LSAS. So it gives you even the process command line is proc dump -ma lsas.exe. So let's say your hypothesis was attackers are in the system and they're using LSAS for privilege escalation. They're doing LSAS dumping for privilege escalation. Then what you do is you'd look for a query like this. At Multrack, we have put together extensive cheat sheets for you. So we've got all the queries that you need. You'll be able to look at one of our cheat sheets and just go ahead and perform threat hunting in Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Sentinel. Let's get back into our notes. So we've been through this. It's incident management. It's also querying data using KQL. So what is Microsoft Sentinel? It's a cloud native SIEM. As we've seen that it actually works with Microsoft Azure. It's a SIEM system that a security operations team can use to get security insights across the enterprise by collecting data from virtually any source. So you can onboard Linux, Mac OS, and Windows devices into Microsoft Sentinel. Detect and investigate threats quickly by using built-in machine learning and Microsoft Threat Intelligence, are very important. And you can automate threat responses by using playbooks and integrating Azure log apps. Unlike what is Microsoft Sentinel, unlike with traditional SIEM solutions, you don't need to install any servers or either on-premise or in the cloud to run Microsoft Sentinel. Microsoft Sentinel is a service, as we've seen, that you deploy in Azure. You can get up and running with Sentinel in just a few minutes in the Azure portal. Microsoft Sentinel is tightly integrated with your other cloud services. Not only can you quickly ingest logs, but you can also use other cloud services natively, for example, authorization automation. Microsoft Sentinel helps you enable end-to-end security operations, including collection, detection, investigation, and response. So you collect, detect, investigate, and respond using Microsoft Sentinel. So data connectors, as we've been through, data connectors are important. So you have a data connector for any service that you'd like to run in Sentinel. So the first thing that to do is to have your data ingested into Microsoft Sentinel. So data connectors let you do just that. You connect data connectors by first installing Content Hub solutions. The Content Hub is where all the solutions are available. Once installed, you can add some services such as Azure Activity Logs by just selecting a button. Others, such as syslog, require more configuration. There are data connectors that cover all scenarios and sources, including but not limited to syslog, common event format, trusted automated exchange of indicator information or TAXI for threat intelligence, Azure Activity, Microsoft Defender Services, and Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud Platform or GCP. So log retention. After data is ingested into Microsoft Sentinel, the data is stored in the Log Analytics workspace. As we've been through, we've showed you how to create the Log Analytics workspace and connect it to Microsoft Sentinel. The benefits of using Log Analytics include the ability to use the custom query language or KQL to query your data. KQL is a rich query language that gives you the power to dive into and gain insights from your data. So log retention strategies we can set up. And unless you have access to Azure, you can use actually the Data Explorer online free tool and upload the logs there, which can be found at this address. Here's Azure Data Explorer. Inside of Azure Data Explorer is basically online free environment that's replicated that you can go ahead and start practicing log analytics and practicing basically what you'd be doing in Sentinel, even if you don't have access to the Microsoft environment. So this is Data Explorer that's open inside my browser, and basically you can import, you can add data in here, you can add a whole bunch of things, and you can also just start running KQL queries against the data, even if you don't have access to the Microsoft environment or the Microsoft 365 environment. So you can use Azure Data Explorer to go ahead and to start working with it. As you've seen, that's Azure Data Explorer. So let's talk about onboarding Defender for advanced hunting in Microsoft Defender. So device discovery and onboarding is the process of connecting devices to Microsoft Defender for endpoint. So first, you go to Settings, Endpoints, Device Management, Onboarding. Select the operating system type, select the connectivity type, and select the deployment method. So as we can see, we're inside Microsoft Defender. We can just come to Endpoints, or we can actually come to System. We come to Settings. Then we can come to Endpoints. And here we can actually come to the actual onboarding and configuration and management, device management. So here's onboarding of devices. So here you can select your operating system type, and you can do it with a script, or you can download the onboarding package. So best thing to do is and here's actually the entire command line. So you can use something like psexec to run this command remotely, or you can actually on the system log into Microsoft Defender and then begin onboarding your devices into it. Onboarded devices, you come here to endpoints. Under endpoints, we come to assets, and we come to devices. And in devices, we have our device inventory, and we can see here that I've got a domain controller. There's the IP address, and there's a whole bunch of information on it. And I also have another virtual machine that's connected. Let's start talking about actual hunting. So we map everything back to MitraTac. So this is MitraTac TTP 1059005. So we understand that. So now let's start hunting. We understand that malware communicates with command and control servers and malicious domains. So we're going to use a KQL query to detect what machines are communicating with a specific domain. So there's the actual query, and we can go ahead and take that query. And we can put it into we can use advanced hunting, or we can use inside Microsoft Sentinel. So here, let's just go for advanced hunting here. This is onboarding 2 devices. You just go ahead and click new query. Just go ahead and click on this little plus sign here, query in editor. And I can go ahead and I can paste my query there. So this is what we're looking for. Okay. So here is inside Microsoft Defender Advanced Hunting. So what you can do, you can see that I've put my own personal website as a domain here. So just to test your theory, you can create your lab environment. So here I'm inside my virtual machine. And what I'll do is I'll navigate to www.grandknutzer.com, and I can navigate there. Bear in mind, it may take some time for these types of logs to be, or these to be sent to Microsoft Sentinel or inside Azure Advanced Hunting, or inside Defender Advanced Hunting, or inside Azure. So let's just say we would now like to search for. So I'm, for argument's sake, letting my domain be the so-called suspicious domain, and this is hunting for that. So I go ahead and click hunt, and it's running the query. It's showing me in the last, okay, so there's nothing that has been discovered. So it hasn't basically sent the log that I'm accessing grandknutzer.com, but it will. These things with Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Sentinel, you sometimes have to give a little bit of time for your queries to run properly. Okay, so that's that query. So we can search for created scheduled tasks as well. So scheduled tasks are often used by attackers as a means of maintaining persistence. So use the following query to search for all created scheduled tasks. So there's the query. Let's get into Defender Advanced Hunting. So we can just copy and paste this here. So it's important to note that the first part of your query in custom query language is going to be speaking about the table. So here I would like device process events table. So here's the device process events table, which is here. So it's all processes by device, right? So timestamp all the way to the hashes and everything else. So this table is in Microsoft Defender for Advanced Hunting, but it doesn't appear inside Microsoft Sentinel. So you can add tables, and how you do that is you come to the data connectors space here, and you can go ahead and do it there. Or what you can do is you can go into home, basically. Okay, I'm going to leave there. You can go into the log analytics workspace, and then what you come down is you can come down and you can go into agents, and also you can go into legacy agent management, etc., etc. But or you can go into Microsoft Sentinel here, and then you can come here, and then you can come put data connectors, and then you can choose your data connectors, and so on and so forth. So this is how you operate in between Microsoft Azure Sentinel and Advanced Hunting. So we can see that the tables are different. You can add different tables in Sentinel, but basically the default tables are what you're given here. So if I go to logs and I come to tables, I'll see what the default tables are, and we can choose from any one of these tables. As we've said, they're different inside Microsoft Advanced Hunting. Inside Defender is basically more focused. And here we can come to queries. When we come to queries here, that what Microsoft have done is they've used their threat intelligence to give us actual queries that we might be able to use. So for example, here, if I come down to execution, for example, exploits execution, I can, so here's a query for anomalous payload delivery from ISO file, and I can basically just double click that, and it's going to run this query. So it's running the query inside Advanced Hunting, and I can run the query. And then if there were any results, it would show me, it would give me exactly the endpoint that's affected, etc., etc. And you can drill down and start investigating. So that's to search for scheduled tasks. So we can search for malicious documents or macros that try to connect to a suspicious domain or website. So this query will identify any malicious documents that have been used to connect to a malicious domain. And this is the, again, device process events is in Microsoft Defender Advanced Hunting. So this is looking for malicious documents or macros that try to connect to a suspicious domain or website. Once again, inside Advanced Hunting. So you have to look at the table that it's looking for. So that's this query is looking for device process events. So I can go ahead and I can create a new query here. New query. I can just put it anywhere. There I can copy and paste. And here's device process events where action type is process created. So we're looking for WinWord or Excel or PowerPoint or anything that's malicious document with malicious code embedded in it. And we can go ahead and run query. And what that would do is that would bring back the results for it says there's a couple of errors there you just have to go through, but it will basically bring back the endpoint, and this is basically how you perform advanced hunting for scheduled tasks that have been created. Okay. Or you could do this, you define the device process events part of the query, let process events equal device process events, and then you use the pipe operator, then where action type equals process created, and then pipe operator where initiating process file name in WinWord, Excel, or PowerPoint. Or you can do it in a different way. There's many different ways to do it. Then you join the two parts. So you can use the join keyword in KQL to join two parts. One last thing, I would like to show you how to add sysmon to, and in fact, adding any other table. What you do is you come to Microsoft Sentinel, come to Home, come to your Log Analytics Workspace. Inside Log Analytics Workspace, come all the way down to Legacy Agents Management. And here you can add a Windows event log. So here I've actually typed it out, Microsoft Windows sysmon operational, and or you can add any other event log. So it's got your analytic, Active Directory web services, etc. So I wanted an Active Directory web services table, then I could just add that. Here I've added a Microsoft Windows sysmon operational table, and basically Legacy Agents Management, Windows event logs, there's performance counters, Linux performance counters, there's syslog and RIS logs, and that's how you add a table inside Microsoft Sentinel. Well, it's been great, and I look forward to seeing you in Module 3. Bye for now.